Sometimes rooting for the Yankees feels like living on the edge between faith and that knot in your stomach. Because just when everything seems to be falling into place, a spark of uncertainty appears and becomes the talk of the entire Bronx. And this time, it's not just a mound that's carrying all the tension. There's a rumor that could change the face of our infield overnight. And you know that when the backstage of Yankee Stadium starts to heat up, nothing is impossible. Today we're going to dive into two stories that could shake up everything you imagine for this season. One involves a comeback that carries more weight than many people realize, and the other, a rumor that even makes the most nostalgic fans stop and wonder if it's time to take a risky step. So do this now. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, because here you breathe real Yankees baseball, no filters and no nonsense. Every detail, every confirmed rumor, every decision that could bring the Bronx back to where it deserves to be. If you're part of Yankees Nation, this is your place. Let's do this. Have you ever stopped to think what it really means to have Marcus Strowman back on the mound at Yankee Stadium? After everything this team has been through since spring training until now, every pitch he throws carries the weight of an entire rotation that, day after day, has been trying not to collapse. And for those who wear the pinstripes with pride, it's impossible not to wonder, is Strowman still that arm we can trust? We all know that Yankees fans have lived with this roller coaster for a while now. The rotation looked solid back then, when Garrett Cole was still commanding everything from the top of the mound. But then came Tommy John surgery, Luis Gil and Clark Schmidt forced to hold the fort, Ryan Yarbrough, who was a key piece, now with a right oblique strain. Every bit of news like that is another crack in the wall that has always protected the Bronx in October. That's why Strowman's return isn't just another comeback from injury. It's almost an all-or-nothing bet. And before we dive into this, do me a favor, drop your like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Here you're part of the most well-informed Yankees Nation on YouTube. Every detail, every behind-the-scenes moment, every stat that could flip the script, we break it all down for you. So don't slack off. Do it now, because everything can change in the blink of an eye. The truth is, Strowman returns this Sunday, right against the Athletics, after spending almost 2 months on the injured list because of inflammation in his left knee. During that time, he made 3 rehab starts in the minors to try to find his rhythm again. The problem? His ERA during that stretch was 6.97, far from inspiring confidence for anyone focused on October. In his last outing for Somerset AA, Strowman gave up 5 runs, 10 hits, and 2 walks in less than 4 innings. Those kinds of numbers don't exactly fit the sense of urgency that's hanging over the Bronx. And if we look back a bit, even before the IL stint, things weren't exactly pretty either. In the 3 starts he made before the injury, Strowman had an ERA of 11.57. He allowed 12 hits and 7 walks in just over 9 innings. Plenty of fans see that and think, wouldn't it be safer to give a shot to someone coming up strong from the minors? And that's exactly what happened, at least for a moment, with Alan Winans. He was called up from AAA Scranton/Wilkes-Barre to try to plug that hole. Winans have been dominating the minors, with a 0.90 ERA in 11 games. He got the call, faced the Reds, and still ended up giving up 4 runs and 5 hits in just over 4 innings. It wasn't the impact the front office wanted. The result? He's back in AAA to make room for Strowman, to prove he's still got something left in the tank. But anyone who follows Strowman knows he's not the type to hang his head. During this whole rehab process, he didn't just work on his knee. He tweaked his mechanics to reduce the load on his left leg, adjusted his delivery for more stability, and he's already said it. He needs to feel the real intensity of the game to perform the way he knows how. It's that mentality that's part of the DNA of playing in New York. The stage is big, but that's where the big names show up. Aaron Boone reinforced that. He told everyone, Strowman's ready, he's locked in, and he's confident. Now we'll see if that all translates into results. Deep down, what scares fans the most isn't just a high ERA, but a knee that still needs watching. It's the domino effect that it causes for the whole rotation. Without Garrett Cole, every game comes with double the pressure. If Strowman doesn't find his groove, the bullpen will be forced to cover extra innings, putting even more strain on arms that are already at their limit. Louis Gill and Clark Schmidt, who are already carrying more than expected, will have to find answers to cover holes that shouldn't even exist right now. And every bad outing becomes another ghost hanging over Yankee Stadium. At the same time, there's something that never changes in the Bronx. The collective memory of fans who've seen other rotations come back to life when no one believed it was possible. It's impossible not to remember the years when a veteran on the ropes found just the right spark at just the right moment. Strowman knows this. He may have wobbled during rehab, but the energy that the stadium gives off might be the fuel he's been missing. The mound at Yankee Stadium isn't just dirt, it's living history. And on Sunday, when he climbs up there again, he'll have all that pressure on his back, but also the warmth of a fan base that, even when impatient, knows the value of a comeback. And you? What do you think will happen? Will Strowman manage to leave behind the ghost of that high ERA and prove that the new mechanics really make a difference? Or are we about to see another round of an exhausted bullpen and pitchers bouncing up and down from AAA? Drop your opinion here in the comments, because this conversation isn't just mine, it's for the entire Yankees nation. Have you ever stopped to think that every pitch Marcus Strowman throws from now on might carry so much more than just an ERA stat? Every fastball will bear the weight of an entire rotation that, game after game, balances on a thin line between hope and frustration. And there's no way to talk about this without feeling that deja vu that Yankees fans know all too well. Trusted arms going down at the worst possible time, an exhausted bullpen carrying the load, an offense that often can't make up for it when the roller coaster on the mound goes off the rails. Strowman's return is almost like hitting a reset button on one hand, but on the other, it's a reminder that everything can unravel with a single bad inning. The Bronx has its eyes on him. After almost 2 months out due to inflammation in his left knee, he made 3 rehab starts in the minors. The result? A 6.97 ERA that raised red flags. In his last outing for Somerset AA, Strowman allowed 5 runs, 10 hits, and 2 walks in less than 4 innings. And before that, when he was still in the main rotation, he had an 11.57 ERA over 3 games. Those are the kinds of numbers that make any fan nervously bite the brim of their cap. But here's the thing. Strowman insists it's different when the pressure is real. I need the intensity of the game, he said, while adjusting his mechanics to take the load off his knee. And Aaron Boone has already given the vote of confidence. Strowman is ready, locked in, and wants to feel the Bronx's energy again. That same energy that can turn any comeback into history. But history at Yankee Stadium comes at a price. And to make room for his return, Alan Winans, who had a 0.90 ERA in AAA, was called up, tried to show what he could do against the Reds, but ended up giving up 4 runs in just over 4 innings. He didn't hold it down. He was sent back. It's the kind of decision that shows every rotation slot today is worth gold. Meanwhile, the injured list keeps growing. The bullpen is pushed to the limit. And we're reminded of the days when Andy Pettitte, CC Sabathia, and even the late David Cohn would take the mound and make the Bronx breathe easier. Today, that sigh of relief feels shorter. And every Strowman start will be watched closely with the hope that he can find that ace form again, or at least be the veteran who keeps the rotation from completely imploding. But as if that wasn't enough to keep every fan up at night, the tide is now turning toward the infield too. Second base, which was once a symbol of consistency and clutch plays, is now under the microscope for tough decisions. DJ LeMahieu, who once shined twice as an all-star, just isn't the same anymore. His .243/.314/.327 line this season tells a story of a quiet decline. And while he tries to find his rhythm again, the media isn't cutting him any slack. Zachary Howell clutch points dropped the bomb that made noise echo from New York to Atlanta. What if the Yankees traded LeMahieu, along with promising prospect Roderick Arias, to bring in Ozzie Albies? The idea sounds insane at first. After all, Albies is also having a strange season, hitting .223/.298/.323. Numbers that, if they don't improve, could be the worst of his career. But Howell points out, since Albies was moved down in the batting order, away from the spotlight, he started to perform better. And the argument is simple. In a star-studded Yankees lineup with less pressure on him, Albies might find himself again. It would be a new chance, a new atmosphere. Of course, on the brave side, giving up Albies isn't something they do overnight. But getting one of the Yankees' top prospects like Arias could be the push Atlanta's front office needs to consider it. All of this, of course, hinges on a big if. The Braves would have to believe they're already out of contention in the National League, something that for now isn't so clear. Then there's a contract factor. LeMahieu is on a hefty 6-year /$90 million deal, while Albies has a 7-year contract worth /$35 million. It's a trade that would shake up the payroll, but also open space for other pieces. And that's where the dilemma lies. Giving up LeMahieu's experience, even if he's far from his peak, he still brings clubhouse leadership. To bet on an Albies who needs to prove himself again. Not to mention sacrificing Arias, a prospect many believe could be part of the Bronx's future. It's that old story. To have a competitive present, how far are you willing to risk tomorrow? Meanwhile, the rotation tries to catch its breath with Strowman's return, or tries to at least. The bullpen already knows it might be used more than it should. Gill and Schmidt will have to cover more innings than planned. And the infield, which should be a fortress, now becomes a piece on the most complicated chessboard in the MLB. Because that's what being a Yankee means. Every decision carries historic weight. We know that. It's always been that way when the Bronx made trades that changed dynasties. It was that way when patience gave way to boldness to lift trophies. The question is, you, the fan, would you make that trade? Would you give up LeMahieu now, send Arias to Atlanta, and trust that Albies can find his best self here? Or do you think this rumor is just noise behind the scenes and the answer lies within the clubhouse itself? In the belief that DJ can still silence the doubters? Drop your thoughts down below, because this discussion doesn't stop here. Every real rumor is a spark that could ignite a whole fire in October. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, because here you'll get every detail, from a bleeding rotation to an infield that could be flipped upside down. And don't forget, being a Yankee means carrying this hope that, in the end, history will smile on the Bronx once again. That's what makes it all worth it.